Hello, class. First of all, I'd like to say welcome back from camp. I hope you had a really good time down there. And I also acknowledge that it's quite strange to come back from camp and find yourself in a lockdown situation. So that means you've got 2 weeks in total away from the Auckland Grammar campus. So it's quite a strange start to the year. And that means that we're going to have to work really hard to stay focused and to stay on top of things. So what I'd like to do today is I'd like to talk about two chapters from the novel, chapters 22 and chapters 23. So basically in chapter 22, what's happening is that we have Marina telling us some more of her secrets. So personally, I believe that Marina is the greatest character in the entire novel, and that's because great characters have great secrets. And this is the chapter when she spills her beans, so to speak. She finally tells Anna, and she finally tells the reader everything that she thinks is really important about the world. And don't forget that the novel is really written from Anna's point of view. Even though most of the novel is in the third-person perspective, it's mostly following Anna's thoughts, actions, words, and deeds. And remember the first time that Anna ever met Marina, in the novel at least, Anna had to go to the Dacha and draw a picture of Marina. And that sort of represented how Marina was mysterious and Anna was trying to learn more about her in some sort of way. Now, Marina tells Anna that after the Russian Revolution, theatre was very popular. Theatre was going to be for everyone. Hyperbole. Don't forget that Anna is an actress, so obviously the theatre is extremely important to her. But unfortunately, what happened after the Russian Revolution, we know, is that Anna's career fell apart due to the decisions of the Russian authorities. Basically, this is symbolic of how the revolution went wrong. In the beginning, theatre was going to be popular because people were open-minded. There was great hope for the future. So Lenin led this revolution. It was successful in 1917. It's called the October Revolution because that's when it was during the Russian calendar. During the Western calendar, it was actually November at this stage. So unfortunately, although there might have been great aims, great goals during this time, this idea that the Communist Party were going to help to build a paradise on earth, what happened was you soon had repression, violence, secret police, civil war. The peasants had their land confiscated. It was a really brutal time. Okay, in the novel, in the earlier starting point in the novel, we have this idea that the black vans, which represent the Russian authorities, are driving around the streets and they're arresting people. They're going to torture them. They're going to murder them. And if we know anything from history, we'll know that most of these people were just completely normal people. So this is the danger of living in a dictatorship. Things might start off well, but they can turn sour quite quickly. So also Marina has this idea that she tells us that she was 32 when she first met Mikhail, and although he already had a wife and a daughter, she fell in love with him. So this is a very awkward situation, isn't it? As we know, Mikhail is married to Vera during this time. So when Anna was 4 years old, this is 19 years before the novel took place, the relationship began. So Anna would be much too young to be aware of any of these events. And Marina became pregnant. She had an abortion, and she claims that Mikhail captured me like a fish, and then he tried to throw me back into the water. but it was too late. So that's a great simile. And Marina feels terrible about the whole situation. I couldn't even swim away. I sank to the bottom of the water and I hid there in the mud. I believed that the mud was where I belonged. So poor old Marina feels quite tortured by the fact that she was in love with a married man. And this is very difficult for Anna to hear. Anna has good memories of her mother, Vera. Does Anna really want to hear about the fact that Marina loved her father as well? It's a very unusual situation, isn't it? And in chapter 23 we had this idea that Mikhail is dying. He's actually been dying for a very long time, since he was injured when he was fighting with the People's Volunteers. So as you might remember earlier on in the novel, what happened is the Nazi tanks and troops arrive quite suddenly outside of this major city, Leningrad. It's a surprise attack because Stalin hadn't been taking these warnings seriously. So as a result, the Russian military is very unorganized, and there's a complete lack of supplies and weapons, and there isn't really a decent plan to begin to fight back against the Russians. But nonetheless, people like Mikhail are brave enough to go and try and stop them, to do what they can, even though Mikhail has not really had much military experience. He's only a writer. So in this chapter 23 we have this idea that Mikhail's skin is becoming translucent. It's like paper. Sort of a creepy simile. And Marina, the woman who has loved him for a long time, is watching him slowly pass away. Alright, so what I'd like you to do for the rest of the class is I'd like you to continue to work on the homework questions that I set for you before you went to camp. So those homework questions are still available on GrammarNet. And remember, you have to answer questions about all 30 chapters. So I'll provide you with notes on the other chapters. Obviously we have chapter 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 and 30 to go. So we're nearly at the end of the novel. But it's really important for you to complete those questions. And the reason why I think it's important is because some of those questions you will probably know the answers to. You'll be able to write them down very quickly. Some of them are a little bit more confusing, and that's quite deliberate on my part, because I want to encourage students to go back and think very carefully. You might have to reread over parts of the novel to find some of those answers. So it's really important when you have a very complicated novel like this one. It has a lot of history and politics and fighting in it, and it also has this, two complicated love stories between Mikhail and Marina and Andrei and Anna. So it's a very convoluted story. That's why those questions are important, because you have to really think carefully about the answers to them, and as I have just stated, you're going to have to reread parts of the novel that you didn't understand the first time. Okay, good luck with that. Thank you very much.